guys, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be reacting to
legendary albums that flopped at first.
Some albums didn't really do well when they were initially released, but managed to become sleeper hits, reaching iconic status. In this video, we look at 8 legendary albums that
flopped at first and became a hit. I don't know.
Why would it be called a flop?
I would think maybe like with TikTok reviving some albums, maybe those would be. Aside from that, I feel like if it flops, everybody kind of forgets about them. I don't know.
that flopped at first.
Oh, wow.
ARTPOP by Lady Gaga. Lady Gaga's third studio album, ARTPOP, released in November 2013, was a real shift from her earlier sound, embracing a more experimental and risk-taking approach. Despite debuting at #1 on the Billboard 200, with first week sales of 258,000 copies, the album's performance was underwhelming compared to her previous releases. Her 2011 album, Born This Way, sold over 1 million copies in its first week, making ARTPOP's debut less than a quarter of that figure. The lead
Yeah, but it still debuted at #1. I don't know if you can consider it a flop at first when you debut at #1. Like that's...
For Disease, did it debut high?
No.
applause did decent on the charts, peaking at #4 on the Billboard Hot 100, but the next singles, like Do What You Want and GUI, had a lukewarm reception. This led to the album being labeled a flop, compared to Gaga's earlier successes. Critically, the album also received mixed reviews, with some praising its ambition, and others not liking its lack of cohesion. Over time, ARTPOP has gained a cult following, with her fans appreciating it as a misunderstood piece of art. In retrospect, the album's initial underperformance was because of high expectations, set by Gaga's early 2010s achievements. Despite its rocky start, the album has now sold over 5.2 million units worldwide, solidifying its place as a pivotal era in Gaga's long career.
5.2 million units? That's a lot. But I wonder what songs on that album.
For
ARTPOP.
ARTPOP, I mean, you can look. He showed some of the
I did,
visuals, and
yeah,
I
I know.
recognized one of them.
Oh,
It's Applause.
Because he named some of the songs. I don't know none of those songs he named.
Lipa by Dua Lipa. Dua Lipa's self-titled debut album, released in June 2017, introduced the British singer to the global music scene. The album initially had a modest debut, opening at a low number 86 on the Billboard 200. In the UK, it performed better, debuting at #5, selling 16,000 units in its first week. The album didn't immediately catapult Dua Lipa to superstardom. The turning point for the album came with the release of the singles, like IDGAF, and especially New Rules, which became a global hit. It topped the UK singles chart and broke into the top 10 in the US.
I mean, this one makes sense. You know, she was a new artist, her debut album. Of course, it didn't do so. People picked her up on other stuff, then they went back to listen. It makes perfect sense.
Boosting the album's sales and streaming numbers. This resurgence led to the album gaining traction, eventually becoming one of the most streamed albums by a female artist on Spotify, accumulating more than 13 billion streams on Spotify. The initial lukewarm reception made people think it was a flop, but the album achieved longevity because of the massive success of its singles, proving that a slow start doesn't necessarily stop an album from achieving legendary status in pop music.
And that's encouraging too, as well.
Control by SZA. SZA's debut album, Control, released in June 2017, has proved
debut. I feel like this is going to be the pattern. It's going to be everybody's debut albums.
To be a modern classic. Initially, the album debuted at #3 on the Billboard 200, with 60,000 album equivalent units sold in its first week. It was an underwhelming debut, considering what it would go on to become. Its singles like Love Galore and The Weeknd didn't really do well on the charts initially, but gradually gained traction over time. Just like the album, it slowly became one of the biggest albums of the year, solidifying SZA's status as a rising star in R&B. Over the years, Control has been recognized as one of the defining albums of the 2010s, never leaving the Billboard 200 since its release, spending close to 400 weeks on the chart. It has now achieved over 8.6 million equivalent album units sold worldwide since its release. The album is one of the best debut albums of all time.
I don't know, makes you look at the Lady Gaga's album and question if it's legendary. Because it dropped 4 years prior and has like 3 million less sales. So is it legendary?
Starting off SZA's career with a bang.
He's ranked lower on the list though. No? Is he going in like an order like...
No, it's just... There's no order.
Exploration of themes like vulnerability, self-discovery, and insecurities really connected with the audience, making it a legendary album. American Teen by Khalid. Khalid's debut album, American Teen, released in March 2017, introduced his unique blend of R&B and pop. The album debuted at number 9 on the Billboard 200, selling 37,000 album equivalent units in its first week. The album was preceded by Location, which did decently well and carried the album's initial momentum. After the album was released, it was followed up by Young, Dumb and Broke, which became a huge hit, now sitting on 1.6 billion streams on Spotify. It has now been certified diamond in the US. After that, American Teen experienced a significant increase in sales and streaming numbers. By August 2017, the album climbed to number 4 on the Billboard 200, ending the year as one of the biggest albums of 2017. Its relatable themes and Khalid's soulful voice make the album legendary, now accumulating a total of 6.4 billion streams on Spotify. The album's journey from a modest debut to an iconic album shows the power of streaming and word of mouth in transforming an album's commercial performance over time. Trapsoul by Bryson Tiller. Bryson Tiller's debut album, Trapsoul, released in 2015.
Yeah, all debut albums, so that's what it's... I mean, it makes sense, you know.
T was a major tone shift in the mid-2010s. The album introduced Bryson's blend of soulful melodies and trap-influenced beats, giving a new name to the genre, Trapsoul. Because it was his first major project, the album only debuted at number 11 on the Billboard 200, selling 22,000 copies in its first week, propelled by the standout single Don't. It first gained attention, but when it was followed by Exchange, it started increasing in sales. As the album gained momentum, it peaked at number 8 on the Billboard 200, earning 33,000 units in its 16th week on the chart, exceeding its debut numbers. It was a true sleeper hit, as it was certified triple platinum by the ARTPOP on May 8, 2020, signifying over 3 million units sold just in the US. Over time, Trapsoul achieved amazing longevity, becoming the 4th longest charting R&B studio album on the Billboard 200. Spending more than 400 weeks on the charts.
Wow.
Queen by Nicki Minaj.
Queen.
Wow.
Nicki Minaj's full studio album Queen, released in August 2018, became a polarizing album. It debuted at number 2 on the Billboard 200, moving 185,000 equivalent units in its first week.
That's a lot, so who blocked her from number 1?
I'm curious.
Just behind the second week of Travis Scott's Astroworld, which caused a lot of controversy. Nicki...
Yeah, I was about to say, because usually numbers like that, I mean, obviously not in every case, but it's should be enough to get number 1.
lashed out at Travis.
Because like I think Stray Kids, when they just got their number 1 for Hop, or they was like at 180 or something.
Claiming his label manipulated the numbers to rob her of her number 1. She was at a weird time in her career, coming off losing a beef, and the Nicki hate train was in full swing. Because of all that, the album didn't get the attention it deserved. The singles like Chun-Li and Barbie Dreams didn't really do well on the charts and couldn't propel the album to new heights. Queen is one of Nicki's most rap-heavy albums, with some of her best verses. Her strong fan base has always liked it, but it is now gaining a cult following, with many people revisiting it. It is only increasing in popularity. Kissland by The Weeknd. The Weeknd's debut studio album, Kissland, released in September 2013, was his first project after the trilogy of mixtapes that gained him recognition in the early 2010s. There was a lot of hype before the album's release, and it debuted at number 2 on the Billboard 200,
That's good,
selling
man.
approximately 96,000 copies in its first week, which was not bad, but not as high as expected. The single choice
Right, you see number 2 is 95, Nicki's number 2 was 185. There's a big difference.
from the album were bizarre, and they didn't really make a significant impact on the charts. The Weeknd was refusing to go pop. You can tell that because he chose Kissland, the title track, as the lead single, which was one of the darkest songs from the album. Over time, however, the album has built up a cult following, with fans appreciating its dark aesthetics and cohesive narrative, solidifying its place in the Weeknd's discography as a unique and experimental project. It is legendary now, even though it kind of flopped when it was first released. The Rise and Fall of a Midwest Princess by Chappell. Chappell's debut album, The Rise and Fall of a Midwest Princess, was released on September 22, 2023.
So it wasn't even this year it was released. Wow, then it definitely, well, to call it legendary maybe premature a little bit, but it definitely, I guess, flopped because we found out about her in the summer, really. So it took a minute.
Was loved by the critics. It was really a commercial flop, not even managing to make it to the Billboard 200 albums chart. It is a vibrant pop record that narrates her journey from Missouri to LA, exploring themes of self-discovery, queerness, and personal growth. Chappell was struggling with her career at the time, but when she was an opener on the Sour Tour, she gained a new set of eyes, and Good Luck Babe changed everything. Even though it was not on the album, when it became a huge hit, it brought her discography to the forefront. And by April 2024, the album managed to debut on the Billboard 200. Then singles from the album started gaining traction, with Pink Pony Club, Hot to Go, and Red Wine Supernova charting high on the Billboard Hot 100. Despite the slow start, the album's popularity started surging, and by the end of 2024, It became one of the best-selling albums of the year, moving close to 2 million total units just in the US. Chappell's journey with this album shows that
That's pretty good, 2 million sales in just a little over a year. That's solid.
quality music will eventually find its listeners. Which legendary albums that flopped at first did I?
I think the title was a little misleading, clickbaity. Legendary albums. I don't think.
That's why you click.
Right. I don't think none of these albums are legendary, but they're not flops no more. If you know.
I feel like SZA's Hers is a legendary album.
Okay, yeah, you're right. I think SZA's. The Weeknd's album, I would have to see what songs are on there. It might be legendary too. So I think those two. Nicki's Queen, it's a really good album, but I don't know if it reaches the legendary status.
I don't
either.
think it can beat the Pink Print,
Right.
you know?
Yeah. So. Oh, also Dua Lipa's album too. I think Dua Lipa's album was legendary. So yeah, a couple were legendary, but a lot of them were like they did better than the first, initially. So.
Guys, of course, let us know your thoughts. If you could like, comment, and subscribe. Join the Discord. And as always, share as much kindness as possible.